Temple of Indian democracy, two men sprayed coloured gas in Lok Sabha, jumping down from the visitors' gallery. Two more were detained outside, spraying the same coloured canister. Police say now, apparently there are two more involved in this security breach, and that is our top focus story. India's biggest security breach. New parliament intruded by two men. This was seconds from disaster. What if the two intruders carried a bomb? What if they carried firearms? New parliament, old negligence. Whose head should roll for this? That's our top focus on the Newstrack. Delhi police now say, in all, prima facie it appears that 6 people were involved in this security breach. 4 have been taken into custody. There are 2 more still to be arrested, 1 yet to be identified. But the question that's being asked, why were the agencies asleep at the wheel? And what if the intruders either had an improvised explosive device, or what if they had poison gas? I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you much more on this big story. But first, as always, the headlines on India Today. A full security review to be carried out in the new parliament building after today's security breach. Only members of parliament to be allowed entry from the main gate. Glass shield to be put in the visitors' gallery. Six people were part of the parliament breach conspiracy. 5 identified. BJP MP Pratap Simha, who issued the visitors pass, clarifies to the speaker, says the father of one of the accused is from his constituency and had asked for a pass. Politics escalates over parliament security breach. Congress demands a statement from the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Trinamool Congress calls for BJP MP Pratap Simha's expulsion. Mohan Yadav and Vishnu Deo Sai officially take charge as Chief Ministers of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh respectively. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads the Bharatiya Janata Party's massive show of strength in the Hindi heartland. An 11-year-old girl dies after a long wait in Kerala's Sabrimala temple queue. BJP protests the poor crowd management. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan claims the situation is under control. It is India's biggest security breach at the temple of democracy. In the country's parliament, there were true intruders who jumped from the visitors' gallery into the well of the house in Lok Sabha and then set off smoke canisters. They jumped from bench to bench till they were overpowered by some members of parliament. But the question remains, how could they walk into parliament, into the visitors' gallery, where you cannot even take a pen with smoke canisters?
Vaulting from table to table after leaping down from the visitor gallery, shouting slogans and releasing coloured gas. A security scare inside the Lok Sabha on the 22nd anniversary of the terror attack on the old Parliament building. The breach occurred in the Parliament building inaugurated just 7 months ago. The intruders, armed with smoke canisters, made their way to the visitor gallery. They were subdued by MPs and on-duty staff. One identified as Sagar Sharma, who possessed a visitor pass issued in the name of the BJP MP from Mysuru, Pratap Simha. The other, a 35-year-old Mysuru engineer, Manoranjan D. India Today traced down Manoranjan's family.
ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವನು ಪ್ರಾಮಾಣಿಕ ಸತ್ಯ ಒಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾನು ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅವನು ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದನ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಈ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಓದೇ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಈ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನನಗೆ
Wednesday's security lapse drew several criticism from the lawmakers.
हम जो सावधानी जो बरतना चाहिए था वो सावधानी हम नहीं बरतते हैं। हमारे जो पार्लियामेंट की जो सिक्योरिटी है सर अपने जो सिक्योरिटी जो निहत्ते वो पुराने सदन को बचाने में सफल हुई थी वो निहत्ते हमारे लोग आज कमी दिखाई दे रहे हैं सर।
Okay. On this day it's happening. It's very, very unfortunate that Indian Parliament has been attacked again. But two people jumped into the well with canisters in their hand which emitted a yellow smoke.
देखिए जब ना पासवर्ड के लिए कोई रूल है ना पास के लिए कोई रूल है पासवर्ड पे एमपी एक्सपेल हो गए अब पास पे कहीं एमपी एक्सपेल ना हो जाए मुझे इसकी फिक्र है
The two intruders taken into custody and being questioned by multiple security agencies. But questions arise about the loopholes that allowed such an intrusion into the parliament. Bureau Report, India Today.
The Delhi police now believe that there was a wider conspiracy. It wasn't just these two individuals who took a visitor's pass, went into the visitor's gallery and then jumped into the Lok Sabha. There were two outside. Minutes before the breach inside, a 25-year-old man and a 42-year-old woman, they set off similar yellow smoke canisters outside the Transport Bhavan entrance near the parliament. The two have been identified as Neelam Azad and Amol. Now, Neelam is from Haryana. She's from Jind. She's 42 years old. Amol is from Maharashtra. The Farmers Union have now demanded that Neelam be released immediately.
Two incidents that took place around the same time Wednesday have exposed the new Parliament House's security. While two people lobbed colour canisters inside the Lok Sabha, two others protested outside, setting off similar colour bombs and shouting slogans.
संसद भवन के ठीक बाहर इस वक्त नारेबाजी दो लोग हैं एक महिला है और एक पुरुष ये अचानक से आते हैं संसद भवन के ठीक बाहर और कलर वाले जो पटाखे होते हैं उनको फोड़ने के बाद अचानक से नारेबाजी शुरू करते हैं।
जो हम पे ये अत्याचार हो रहे हैं हम अपनी हकों की जो बात करते हैं लाठीचार्ज करके हमको अंदर डाला जा किया जाता है तो हमारे पास कोई माध्यम नहीं था।
डायरेक्ट वजह है कोई वजह है किसी संगठन से हैं आप?
नहीं हम किसी संगठन से नहीं है आम जनता है स्टूडेंट है हम छोटे भी।
The man and woman were detained by the police outside the Transport Bhavan near Parliament.
आप देखिए कि जो कलर स्मोक है उसका इस्तेमाल जिसका किया गया था ये कलर स्मोक है और इसका इस्तेमाल करने के बाद आपको बता दें कि यहाँ पर काफी धुआं हो गया था। कई कलर के यहाँ पर धुएं का इस्तेमाल किया गया और आप तस्वीरों में देखिए सईद कि जो ट्रांसपोर्ट भवन के बाहर लोग मौजूद थे दो लोग एक महिला जिसका नाम नीलम था जो कि महाराष्ट्र से आई थी और जो दूसरा व्यक्ति था वो व्यक्ति जो है उसने इस कलर स्मोक का इस्तेमाल किया और स्मोक का इस्तेमाल करने के बाद यहां पर पूरी तरीके से अफरा तफरी मच गई।
The two accused have been identified as 42-year-old Neelam from Hisar in Haryana and 25-year-old Amol Shinde from Latur in Maharashtra. The shocking security breach comes on the anniversary of the 2001 Parliament attack and only a few days after Khalistani terrorist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu had issued a threat to attack India's parliament. The incidents today took place a few hours after members of parliament had paid their homage to security personnel who had sacrificed their lives on that fateful day in 2001. With Amit Bhardwaj and Jitendra Bahadur at Parliament in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And the BJP has now come out all guns blazing. The BJP has claimed one of the 4 parliament attackers is an active Congress/Indie alliance supporter. The BJP's IT cell chief Amit Malviya put out a post on social media platform X saying Neelam is an Andolan Jeevi who has been seen at several protests. The question is, who sent them? Why did they pick someone from Mysuru to obtain a parliament pass from a BJP MP? Ajmal Kasab also wore a kalava or a sacred thread to mislead people. It is a similar ploy. Remember, the opposition will stop at nothing, not even defiling the parliament, the highest institution of our democracy. Unquote. I quickly want to bring in our guests and reporters, and we're tracking the story very closely. Joining me on the broadcast is Yashovardhan Azad, former Special Director at the Intelligence Bureau. Vikram Singh is former Director General of the Uttar Pradesh Police, a major counter-terror and security expert. Also with me is Tehseen Poonawala and Sangeet Ragi, both giving us a perspective on this story. But I want to begin by asking you, Tehseen Poonawala, you just saw what the BJP has put out saying that the protester Neelam was an Andolan Jeevi seen at several protests, and the opposition will stop at nothing, including defiling the parliament, sir.
Gaurav, at the onset, today is a very important day in our history, so I want to offer my tributes to our brave policemen who were martyred on 13 December. At the same time, a gratitude to Azad ji and Vikram ji. They've served our police force. And I'm happy that no one was injured today. So that is something that we have positive from. I have a lot of respect for you, Gaurav, a lot of respect for you as a journalist. And surely you don't expect me to reply to something said on Twitter. This is a very serious matter. This is perhaps the biggest terrorist breach in our country in recent times. It is akin to 26/11 happening exactly at that spot on 26/11. It is exactly like 9/11 happening today, 9/11 happening again at the same spot. So we expect a communication from the Honorable Home Minister, not some tweet from the BJP IT cell. Let's be very clear on that. And the Honorable Home Minister has not spoken. Now, Gaurav, let me ask you some questions. And again, I know that you follow security, or somebody I follow on security issues. Forget who these people are for a minute. Let's keep that aside. How did they get into our parliament? You know, Gaurav, I know, and the experts know. There are 3 layers of security. How did they breach it? The third layer is frisking. How can we get away saying, oh, they had plastic canisters so they weren't detected? Whose responsibility? Has there been any check done that is this anthrax or not anthrax or any other poisonous gas? Because that takes time to develop. If it's some biological weapon, we have no clue of it. I heard a Congress MP whose bite went very viral, who caught one of the people jumping. The honorable speaker told him, no, don't wash your hands so we can see what it is. Shouldn't we have had protocols in place? When we saw visuals of all our MPs, they were sitting, chatting, some catching things. We had no plan on how to escape.
Sangeet Ragi, major lapses. Sir, we keep this as a conversation. I completely appreciate the point you're raising. Danish Ali also joins us. Sangeet Ragi, major lapses. The opposition says we need a statement from the Home Minister of the country, not something that comes from the BJP IT cell, sir.
I think that it would be ridiculous to say that the Home Minister is responsible for all this. The moment such things happen, you target your gun towards the Prime Minister, and I think that it's a serious lapse on the part of security. Number one, nobody will deny it. But important point is that ever since I have come to know that on other channels also I made this point. This is a left liberal gang, a cynical design. It's a great big conspiracy to defame this government. And they have picked up the date, specifically the 13th December 22 years ago, the parliament was attacked. And this time, just to create, a news
all the more reason for security forces to have busted them. If it's the left liberal cabal, as you put it, all the more reason to have caught them at the gate and had them arrested. Now, I have two security experts and I'll go to both those security experts. But Kunwar Danish Ali, Member of Parliament, an eyewitness who was there, joins me on the broadcast. Let me just get an eyewitness perspective on what happened. Kunwar Danish Ali, you raised a very pertinent point. You said no protocols in this parliament, whether for a pass or a password. What are your apprehensions, sir?
See, Gaurav, one thing, this new parliament building was built in a hush-hush manner. No protocols, no security experts or the facilities there for the members or the staff or the media people. There are a lot of I don't want to go into that detail. But what happened today is a serious breach of security. Nobody can deny it. You can, somebody can blame somebody, this is not the issue. Who is responsible for the security of this country? Who is responsible for the security of the elected representatives like parliamentarians? If the Parliament of India is not secured in the hands of the present regime, then what else is secured? That's the basic point. How these people have entered. Whether they have a genuine cause to raise, unemployment, this, that, farmers, that is a different debate. We can debate it at a different time. But today, if that person, Sagar Sharma, whom I caught with security people there and took out his pass, if he would have brought some poisonous gas, I would not have been sitting here and debating with you today.
True.
I don't want to go in that sharing password or giving pass to somebody can lead to the expulsion of a parliamentarian. I don't want that Mr. Pratap Sima should be expelled from the Lok Sabha as Ms. Mohua Moitra was expelled. No. Sharing a password or sharing a pass, giving a pass.
No, sir, you raise a very pertinent point. You raise a very pertinent point, and let me take this to Yashovardhan Azad.
In place.
Mr. Azad, you were former director of India's intelligence bureaus, former special director. Tell me this, sir. How could something like this happen in your view when there was specific intelligence alert, there was an intelligence input, and yet this happened? Clearly somebody is sleeping at the wheel, sir.
3 points, Gaurav. First is on this momentous occasion where we commemorate and sort of pay our obeisance to the lives of those security men who died in that attack. There should have been utmost caution. There is no doubt about that. That's number one. Number two, in all these failures, we should be able to pinpoint the exact point where the failure occurred and who's the one responsible. And that is, in Parliament, you have various layers of security.
Yes.
But for individuals and guests who go inside, there are 3 layers. First is, of course, the DFMD, which checks for the metals, door frame. Then you have the handheld metal detectors, which checks your body. And then if you have any doubt, you're physically frisked. The problem occurred, there was a plastic which was embedded in the shoes, and therefore none of the metal detectors checked. And the unprofessional attitude of those people who did not realize is the importance of this occasion. They should have checked the gate, they should have checked the limb, they should have checked everything, and then they would have been able to trace this. Now, what is the fault? The fault is that in the routinized check, we don't have watchers. In the routinized check, I don't know whether that equipment of backscatter technology, which recognizes and identifies these plastic things, are there or not. Therefore, it is a real failure. The question is not whether these people jumped and whether they were of political kind or whatever, because no damage occurred in any case. The question is that if suppose the Prime Minister was present, the SG would have been forced to fire, because in their protocol, if you have a man jumping around and putting smoke bombs, They have no, and you can imagine the kind of calamity we would have faced. Therefore, it is important to find out where this happened, why it happened, and it is and the last point about the MPs. You know, it is in the rules, Gaurav, that if an MP issues or asks for passes, then he has to say, and Mr. Ali will back me up, that he's my friend or he's my relative or that I know him, and that the responsibility for that behavior is also cast on him. But what is actually happening is that anybody who comes from the constituency says, "Bhai, humko to andar jana hai, sir. हाँ, isko andar bhej do." So that is true.
This chalta hai attitude. You're absolutely right, sir. Dr. Vikram Singh, this, as Mr. Yashovardhan Azad very rightly pointed out, 22nd anniversary of the attack on the Temple of Indian Democracy, the fact that there was a Khalistani terror threat, the fact that people like Gurpatwant Singh Pannu were threatening to target the parliament, and yet it happened. It just goes on to show that we don't take threats seriously, sir.
Gaurav ji, absolutely right. Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who's eating out of the hands of Americans in New York, gave a threat that he would attack the parliament either on 13th of December or somewhere close by. Such inputs, such pinpointed information and inputs, we did not take them seriously. And what happened was absolutely an unmitigated disaster. I had expected a lot more, as my illustrious colleague Mr. Yashovardhan Azad ji has mentioned, that yes, we were lullabied into complacency because we thought that this input would be another input which does need to be swept underneath the carpet. But what has happened is not a wake-up call. The act has already been done, and I feel that the attack has been successful. I repeat, the attack is successful. It's a different matter that the IED was not there, grenade was there. To Mr. Yashovardhan's very logical observation that you don't have watchers. Watcher is one person, Danjali Sahab, जो कहते हैं चेहरा पढ़ने की सलाहियत, चेहरा पढ़ लेता है कि आप शातिर दिमाग के हैं या शरीफ ज़ादे हैं. That was totally missing. Otherwise, this was again avoidable. Now, 4 foot soldiers gained entry. Gaurav ji, a loud question to all the esteemed panelists. But who is the company commander? Yes. Who has benefited from this episode? The company commander is yet to be identified. And do a bit of reverse engineering. Go back to the company commander. The foot soldiers will squeal once they are subjected to the lie detector test. The nation needs to know who is the perpetrator. This is one incident which cannot be relegated to politics, and politics has better be kept out of it because it's too serious a matter affecting the nation.
Absolutely. Lives of our members of parliament, our honorable lawmakers cutting across party lines were at stake. Danish Ali ji, I want to understand from you, what is the security that you have seen earlier and now? Is there a difference in the two parliament buildings, and is there lack of security in the new building, sir?
Gaurav, if you remember, the first day when we entered this new building and women's reservation bill was to be introduced, loads of buses with the guests came and they were sitting in the gallery and they were chanting slogans, Modi, 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 Modi. Honorable Prime Minister was sitting there. When somebody pointed out, he himself, when we objected that what's this happening in the new building, it never happens that in the parliament, in the chamber of Lok Sabha, party slogans and slogan shouting was being done from the galleries. Then Honorable Prime Minister himself asked his cabinet colleague, what is this happening? He was embarrassed basically. So this type of thing was going on in this new parliament building.
Sir, but politics apart, on the specific issue of security, do they have less number of metal detectors? Do they have less number of security personnel? Is there adequate screening not happening for guests who come in? Is there no protocol for who will be given a pass? Anybody can come from Amroha and, for example, from your constituency. Anybody can come and say, I'm from Amroha, and he can come and sit in the gallery, sir?
What is happening is this new parliament building has not been built in a manner taking the experts' advice. One from the single gate, one gate, all the MPs has to go, all the visitors, staff, everybody. If you see there, hundreds of people are being gathered daily at the visitors passes for the journalists. has been revoked since this COVID period. No senior journalist can enter parliament, even old building, central hall passes were revoked. But loads of buses, workers were coming and being shown the parliament. So this, and that had become a routine. Because what has happened today, and incidentally or coincidentally, 22 years ago, the parliament was attacked. But today also, the same day, as the security expert has already said, that they have fulfilled their target. If they have entered the chamber, if it would be having a biological weapon, if you would be having a poisonous gas, I would not have been sitting here and talking to you.
Sangeet Ragi, respond to this point.
Would have taken place?
Sangeet Ragi, respond to this place. If instead of just that harmless color gas in that canister, had it been some kind of poison gas, had it been forces inimical to the country, we would have lost honorable members of parliament today, sir.
Yes, nobody can deny that this is a serious breach of security, and a serious inquiry needs to be done, and those who are responsible for their hits must roll down. This is first. But at the same time, the timing is very important. The timing, and I don't think that some, free individuals just got the pass and they did the job what they have done today. I think that there is a larger conspiracy, and the larger conspiracy has been hatched by the left liberal gang in this country. They wanted to, number two thing, there can be three possibilities. One, the resounding victory that the BJP
Pass
has
is
registered,
being issued by an RSS
Number two,
MP, BJP
please
MP.
hold on, sir. Hold on,
And
hold
you are
on.
taking what
Hold on,
is
sir.
this?
Hold your horses. I'm just trying to finish myself. Secondly,
Pratap
the
Simha
timing
is a
such,
member parliament
the
who wrote book
timing
about
is
Prime
such
Minister Modi.
that they want to create a kind of a
He comes from the
sensation
RSS.
throughout and want to create a kind of a political issue out of it.
Okay.
You just,
Sir, but it's more
heard
serious than a political issue. It's a national security issue.
No, the nation is
It's
not
a-
secured in your hands.
Okay,
you
When
Danish Ali,
cannot
just give me a
BJP
moment.
power in 2001, that
Okay,
time the
Danish Ali has a
parliament
question
was
for
attacked.
Sangeet Ragi.
Today
Okay,
also
Danish Ali,
the
go
parliament
ahead,
is
sir.
attacked.
Go ahead, Danish Ali, go
Mahua
ahead.
Mohitra case is entirely different. I think that
Who
the
was there in
politicians
who was
do
there in
give
the
such
power
kind of a
in
visitor, sign the
2001?
visitor card.
It was Mr. Vajpayee's government.
There is a
Today, who is in
breach,
power?
security breach.
When BJP is in
denying
power,
this part.
even the
But it
parliament
is lapse on part of the
is not
security
secure.
agency. Those who
Okay.
are responsible.
Yashovardhan
they should
Azad
be-
wants to come in
they should be
before I come
punished.
to you, Tehseen. Give me a moment. Let me bring in Mr.
don't
Yashovardhan
try to
Azad quickly.
create- don't try
Go on,
to
sir.
create the-
Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, you wanted to make a point, sir.
Yes, Gaurav, again, I want to get back to that particular point of failure. We should focus on exactly who is responsible and how he's responsible. There is a clear division between the security. The outer layer is by the central police forces, whereas inside the overall in charge is the parliament duty group. In the parliament duty group are plainclothes personnel, and they are manning these, door frame metal detectors. So the fault which has occurred, we have to check for many things, and the MP should be really concerned whether they have the backscatter technology or not, whether they are having a mix of the youngsters, whether they're having only deputationists who are old from the Delhi police. There are so many things which need to be looked into. And I think that is why it should be referred to a joint parliamentary committee, so that all of them, because security concerns all. And that is why at this point it is important that it should be referred to the joint parliamentary committee.
Okay, you say there should be a JPC. Should this be investigated in two parts? Tehseen Poonawalla, before I bring in Dr. Vikram Singh. One, the breach at parliament. Two, the wider plot. Is this a ragtag bunch of Andolan Jeevis as BJP alleges, or is there a bigger sinister plot where there is a orchestrated, targeted plan? And here, a plan that fortunately no lives were lost, but exposed chinks in Parliament's armour. Tehseen.
I again want to begin very humbly by asking you, Gaurav, how do you know nobody's been injured? chemicals and biological weapons take time to take effect. We had zero protocol. And Gaurav, you know this more than anyone. You've covered live wars. It's not like a biological weapon should explode today. And I'm asking you a very hypothetical question. Instead of the BJP MP, had it been my friend Danish Ali Saab, from whose office the parts would have happened, would then Amit Malviyaji tweet the same thing? Look, it does not matter. None of these issues matter. You have to take it as a very serious terrorist attack. And that's where this investigation must begin from. Maybe the Honorable MP did not know those people personally. That's fine. Who in his office knew? How did the communication happen? Shouldn't we go into every link, every chain, every minute detail, trace it? Was it only a coincidence? Something was happening inside Parliament, something was happening outside Parliament. Gaurav, many debates I do from outside Parliament. Sometimes with you know the layer of security. What were they doing? And look, these are two experts here. They can look at somebody, they can look at the people's walk and they know what is happening and what's not happening. That's what these people are trained for. If Vikram sir sees somebody, he will know from the look whether this guy is a thief, he's hiding something. How could you not detect somebody walking with canisters? I'm astounded. Can that even be possible today in Parliament? On the anniversary when Pannu had said on this particular day, he will attack us?
Or is there something even more sinister, Dr. Vikram Singh, that the canisters were provided later to these individuals? The canisters came somewhere else. We've seen that in 26/11, the 10 Pakistani terrorists came with X amount of ammunition and they had X amount of ammunition that was already stocked up for them, according to police investigations initially.
Gauravji, this is the first time I'm hearing to a distinct possibility that has absolutely likelihood that can happen. And to say that there are horrible fault lines in the security apparatus, I'm in agreement with that. But with this possibility that this could have been planted inside and then taken records to and then used inside the Parliament House to overawe. But to the larger plot, as you mentioned, to communicate on social media right across the country from Haryana right up to Mysore, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, and to get diverse kind of people for a calibrated and a coordinated attack on the Parliament. I would say a successful attack on the Parliament, well, that needs to be investigated and an experts committee needs to investigate and all the professional agencies need to inquire and investigate both and suggest what needs to be upgraded and how the fault lines can be addressed. That is the solution that we should be looking for. Long-term solutions, short-term solutions, and the security is absolutely non-negotiable. Infallible security, fail-proof and foolproof.
Okay, Mr. Ragi, should there actually be a JPC so that every so the members of Parliament from different political parties are all on board? This wasn't an attack on the ruling dispensation or the opposition. It was an attack on the temple of our democracy, on our MPs, sir.
I think that this should have been this should be treated as an attack on on the temple of democracy. But unfortunately, the opposition benches haven't reflected the way they should have reflected. Otherwise, they would not have attributed it to the government. There's nobody is denying the way I was about to finish the one point. That the body language, I have seen because I have spent 35 years of my life in the university circle. So I can tell you the body language of the demonstrator, particularly the girl who was coming out of the, who was snapped by the security forces. The way she was, sloganeering, indulged in the sloganeering. It smacks of that. I have been repeating it again, left liberal gang.
Well, the left liberal gang should have been stopped at the gates. The enemy needs to be stopped and neutralized, be that as it may. I do not know who this individual is or what her background is, but a clear investigation and a transparent investigation is required. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me. I've run out of time on this part of the show. A quick break. Lots more coming up on the other side of these messages. Stay with us.
Today Group sweeps the ITA 2023 awards from Best English News Channel India Today TV to Best Hindi News Channel Aaj Tak and the ultimate ITA Scroll of Honor for Nari Shakti exemplary leadership.
ये गर्व का मौका है कि मेरे नारी शक्ति के समर्थन और संकल्प को इस मंच ने और ताकत दी है। लंबे वक्त से बहुत से लोग ये बताते रहे कि एक आदमी की सफलता के पीछे एक औरत का हाथ होता है। अब वक्त बदला है। हर सफलता खुद हासिल करने के लिए हम सब आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। आत्मनिर्भर भारत की नींव आत्मनिर्भर नारी शक्ति ही बनेगी। एक नई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इस सम्मान के साथ मुझे मिली है। मैं इसे अपनी पूरी कमिटमेंट से निभाऊंगी।
Most trusted, most awarded. India Today, India's maximum channel.
There's been a significant development during the winter session. The Rajya Sabha on Tuesday had passed the Chief Election Commissioner and Other Election Commissioners Bill 2023. This will guide the appointment of the CEC and other commissioners. Now, the bill was introduced originally in 10th August, but there were concerns that were raised. For example, on pay disparity, and that by former CECs that had raised this concern. Now, the Union government introduced then an amendment. Now the salary and perks of the Chief Election Commissioner and the Election Commissioners will be maintained at the level of a Supreme Court judge. Moving the CEC Bill 2023, Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal said that the legislation has been brought in view of the Supreme Court judgment of March this year while hearing a PIL. But reacting to the bill and the introduction of it, it has become a huge political showdown. Senior Congress Member of Parliament Randeep Singh Surjewala said the proposed legislation completely violates the spirit of the Constitution that is enshrined in Article 14. Now, the bill is yet to be passed in the Lok Sabha. In March this year, the Supreme Court had given a judgment in which it had said Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioners must be appointed on the advice of the panel comprising the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. Has that been changed now? Now here's why the opposition party netas are charging at this bill. So what are some of the concerns possibly that will have to be taken into consideration and ensure Election Commission stays right on top with regard to its independence and freedom of practice? Now, is there a balance of power that also is being discussed here? Is it tilting towards a certain side? So that remains one of the big issues with regard to what the concerns have been expressed. Now, electoral governance alignment with farmers' intentions, for example. One, of course, the electoral governance in the sense that the Election Commission will take those decisions and then go ahead with regard to, for example, organizing elections and more. But also the misuse of power is there by selection committee. That is an allegation that has come in from the opposition as well, and we'll be tracking that big story too.
Welcome back. The parliament security breach should be a major national security issue, getting all members of parliament, all political parties on the same page. But trust our netas to use even this to score political points. Parties of the opposition Indie alliance have called the breach an insider job. The Trinamool Congress has alleged that the BJP should explain whether a BJP leader may have facilitated this attack. Danish Ali raised another point. He said if a member of parliament could be expelled for a password, will a member of parliament be expelled for a pass?
India's new parliament intruded by two men. The country's biggest security breach on the anniversary of the 2001 parliament attack. This issue of national security has predictably been hijacked by political point scoring. The India Alliance party staged a walkout in Rajya Sabha. The Congress is now demanding a statement from Home Minister Amit Shah.
कई दिनों से ये चर्चा में आई कि कोई आतंकवादी संगठन सदन में हमला करेगी और वो भी 13 दिसंबर को। यह जानकारी भी सरकार के पास थे और सबको जानकारी में रही क्योंकि मीडिया वालों ने बार-बार ये सारे मुद्दा उठाए थे। फिर भी इस तरह की चूक क्यों हुई, ये सबका सवाल है।
Congress party workers protested outside the residence of BJP MP Pratap Simha's residence in Mysuru. One of the intruders, Sagar Sharma, was carrying a visitor pass issued by the BJP MP.
वहां वो गए नहीं, उन्होंने बाकायदे बम फेंका, धुआं उड़ाया, पाउडर फेंका, जिससे भी धुआं निकला। तो सबसे बड़ा सवाल तो यह है कि राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा से जुड़ा हुआ मुद्दा है। वहां पर इस सरकार अगर संसद की हिफाजत नहीं कर सकती तो इस सरकार से देश की हिफाजत की उम्मीद क्या करें। हमें तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि आज जैसे पुलवामा का रिहर्सल कर रहे थे।
The TMC has called the Lok Sabha security breach an insider job, accusing the BJP of facilitating the attack. The party is also demanding the expulsion of MP Pratap Simha.
Our straight question is that you have expelled Mahua Moitra, national security compromised. What is Lok Sabha going to do because national security has been compromised?
Will 2024 elections be Jeet ki hat-trick for the BJP? Let's quickly cut across to Agenda Aaj Tak. Rahul Kanwal in conversation with the BJP President JP Nadda.
जवाब आपने सेमीफाइनल के साथ ही दे दिया।
देखिए राहुल जी, मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ हर चुनाव अलग होता है, इसलिए मैं किसी को सेमीफाइनल नहीं मानता, मैं किसी को फाइनल नहीं मानता। जो चुनाव होता है उसको उसी तरीके से लड़ा जाता है। लेकिन हाँ, निश्चित रूप से ये 3 प्रदेशों के चुनाव में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत ने ये तय कर दिया है कि 2024 में भारतीय जनता पार्टी मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में अच्छी मेजॉरिटी के साथ फिर से सरकार में आ रही है। ये बात स्पष्ट हुआ।
ये तस्वीरें आपके पीछे बड़ी स्क्रीन पर चल रही हैं, जिसमें 2 मुख्यमंत्रियों का शपथ ग्रहण है, तीसरा भी पवेलियन में इंतजार कर रहा है अपनी बारी के लिए। और यहाँ पर बैठे सभी दर्शक जो आपको इस वक्त टेलीविजन पर, सोशल मीडिया पर, डिजिटल पर देख रहे हैं, वो जानना चाहेंगे कि नड्डा जी, मोदी जी और अमित शाह आखिरकार मुख्यमंत्री का चयन करते कैसे? क्या फॉर्मूला है? क्या कोई जादूगर का पिटारा है जिसमें से नाम निकल के आता है, या एक पूरी प्रक्रिया है? क्या वो प्रक्रिया है, वो बताइए।
देखिए, बहुत गहरी प्रक्रिया है। आप बहुत कम शब्दों में समझाना मुश्किल है। और ये सिर्फ मुख्यमंत्री के लिए ही नहीं, ये सिर्फ कोई मंत्रियों के ही चयन के लिए नहीं, ये कोई एमपीज़ के चयन के लिए नहीं, या एमएलएस के चयन के लिए भी नहीं। हमारे यहाँ बहुत डीप रिसर्च के साथ हर कार्यकर्ता को वॉच किया जाता है, उसकी एक्टिविटीज़, उसकी हिस्ट्री, उसके रिस्पॉन्सेस, और एक बहुत बड़ा डाटा बैंक हमारे पास है, जिसको हम समय समय पर उसको हम हमेशा स्टडी करते रहते हैं। अब जैसे आपने कहा चीफ मिनिस्टर, जब इलेक्शन रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर हुए थे, जब इलेक्शन डिक्लेयर हुआ था, उस समय से हमारा प्रोसेस, जब हमने कैंडिडेट्स को टिकट दिया तो हम कौन हमारा लीडर होगा और ऑपोजिशन के लिए कौन लीडर अच्छा होगा और रूलिंग के लिए कौन अच्छा लीडर होगा, इसका सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस शुरू हो जाए।
कि अगर हार गए तो कौन, अगर जीते तो कौन?
हाँ, वो भी।
तो हारने पे कौन था आपके मन में?
नहीं, क्वेश्चंस होते हैं।
अच्छा,
हम अब जैसे मान लीजिए कि हम तेलंगाना में तो हम सरकार में नहीं आए, तो वहाँ तो हमको कुछ ऑपोजिशन के बारे में ही सोचना था। तो ये एक हमारा कहाँ कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस है। इलेक्शन रिजल्ट्स आते हैं, उसके बाद वो इंटेंसिफाई हो जाता है। आप सब लोगों को लगता होगा कि ये जेपी नड्डा ने किसी को फ़ोन पे कह दिया और वो फिर आगे चला गया, ऐसा नहीं होता। बहुत डीप कंसल्टेशन होता है, बहुत चीज़ों को बहुत बारीकियों से चयनित किया जाता है। उसी तरीके से मंत्रिमंडल के बारे में भी, उसका कॉम्पोजिशन क्या होगा, 14 मेंबर्स बनने हैं, मिनिस्टर्स बनने हैं, क्या 14 के 14 एक ही साथ बना देने हैं या कुछ उसमें सोच करके रखना है। टॉप प्रायोरिटी में फर्स्ट 10 कौन हो सकते हैं, क्या कॉम्बिनेशन बैठ सकता है, किन लोगों का परफॉर्मेंस कैसा रहा है, रिपीट कितनों को कराना है, ऐसी सब चीज़ों की बारीकियों पर।
तो ये 3 चेहरे अभी आपके स्क्रीन पे आएंगे, आपके 3 नए मुख्यमंत्री। थोड़ा हमें तफसील से बताइए कि इन 3 चेहरों में आपने क्या देखा कि आपको लगा कि चलिए विष्णु देव साय से स्टार्ट करते हैं। छत्तीसगढ़ के नए मुख्यमंत्री आदिवासी समुदाय से आते हैं,
बहुत तजुर्बेकार, 2 बार के अध्यक्ष, 2 बार के सांसद, 1 बार के मंत्री। छत्तीसगढ़ में ट्राइबल लीडर आगे बढ़े और पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ये हिम्मत नहीं कर पाई हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने तय किया कि इसको हम ये आगे आएंगे और सबको साथ लेकर के चलने की ताकत, उनका इतिहास इस तरीके का है, तो इसलिए उनको फिर हम लोगों ने।
फिर मोहन यादव पे आते हैं जी, यादव समुदाय से आते। पिछली दफा सुभाष यादव जी बन सकते थे जब अरुण सिंह ने बनवा दिया दिग्विजय जी को। क्या आपको लग रहा है कि इस फैसले से जो यूपी और बिहार के यादव कम्युनिटी है उसको भी आप अपनी तरफ से और खींच पाएंगे?
नहीं, देखिए हमारा प्रिंसिपल क्या है, मैं कोई ये कम्युनिटी को उस कम्युनिटी को, ये शब्दावली हमारी नहीं है, लेकिन हाँ, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास, इसको लेटर और स्पिरिट में हम इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं। और जब हमारे पास किसी वर्ग को रिप्रेजेंटेशन के माध्यम से उसको मुख्य धारा में आने का मौका मिलता है, वो हम देते हैं। हमको मध्य प्रदेश में मौका मिला, ओबीसी के चेहरे के रूप में आगे बढ़ा